A mind that is stretched by a new idea can never return to its original dimensions. This is a quote I remember seeing by Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr., and it has always stayed with me. Once something is known, it cannot be unknown. There's no going back from whence you came. You know, I was in a session today where we were speaking on the power of prana and how this is a wonderful time, a wonderful age of exploration into the human design, exploration into the human potential, our capabilities, and the many multitude of ways that we are limitless. There are no limits. The only limitation is our imagination. Now, it doesn't matter how much knowledge we acquire. We're coming back into ourselves. When I speak of this, there was one time where I was in Pasadena, walking into a big library, and I saw this giant book on a stand. And I walked over to this book, and the tome read, "The Knowledge Book," in big letters. And so I opened this book, cracked it open to chapter 1. And in the first chapter of the Knowledge Book, which was pretty sizable, it had a quote by Albert Einstein. This quote read, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." I closed the book. I was done with the book. I had learned what I needed to. It taught me what I needed to learn. Imagination. Have you ever been told by someone else to use your imagination? Maybe you asked them a question that you could look up on Google, but they turned to you and they said, well, use your imagination. When you use your imagination, do you see us as limited or limitless? I think it was Kid Cudi who once said, "If you cannot do what you imagine, then what is imagination to you?" Let's examine this. A while back, I went through bouts of depression, sadness, coming off of a relationship that had lasted 10 years with a partner whom I thought was my forever. But it didn't pan out that way. And I have since found the blessing in the lesson. But at that time, I was ready for the most profound change, because it was a very low point in my life. I lacked focus, I lacked clarity, I lacked energy, I lacked direction, I lacked drive, and I lacked determination. I was in the frequency of lack. But something happened when I met some Burmese monks and nuns at a meditation center. I had a conversation after doing much meditation with them and learning about mindfulness and detachment, suffering and expectation. A lady told me about breatharians. Now, before this point, I had never even heard the word breatharian or even liquidarian. I never even knew that there were lifestyles beyond veganism or raw foodist or live and raw or anything beyond solid food. Now, of course, I had heard of fasting, backing up from the table, letting go every once in a while, but no, not for months at a time or even years. But when I heard that the chief monk had been living on liquid for over 2 years, and I started to dig and do more research and found more people that were living this way for decades, my mind was open. And I was just ready enough to receive. You see, we often only make profound change due to inspiration or desperation. And we would want it to be inspiration. We would want to be inspired, to be in spirit. But often we are desperate. I was desperate. And I was ready to let it all go. In fact, I won't even sugarcoat it. I was at the point where I didn't care if I died. I wanted change so badly. I was ready to let go. And so I let go of the belief that I needed food to survive. Something that I was taught that if I had went without for more than 5 days, I would surely perish. And what happened was that by the time I concluded this liquid lifestyle, 3 months had passed, and I felt so good that I was actually afraid to go back to eating, because I gained more clarity, more focus, more drive, more determination, and more energy than I had ever had in my entire life. There's a saying in Taoism: if you want to be full, be empty. If you want to be given everything, give everything up. So I tell you this story, my friend, to let you know that we are only scratching the surface of human potential. Food freedom, pranic living, breatharianism, whatever you call it. You're going to hear more about this in the future if you haven't heard already. It's been around for a long time. But the truth is often hidden in plain sight. And now that you have heard this message, what will you do with this knowledge? You may not be called to do digging of your own, to experiment and see what it's all about, because everything isn't for everybody. Because of course every body is different. But it's here now. The knowledge is here. The information is in the air. It's in the collective consciousness. And I'm happy to be a part of it. At the time of this recording, it has been weeks since I've had any solid food. And I'm on the path again because I feel called to not only enlighten myself by lightening up, but to have a message for someone else who may think that the life they are living is all it has to offer. You will soon find out that you are more than you've ever realized. And food freedom, breatharianism, just for the record, it's a minor city power. It is an ability that you can use, that you can grow into, that you can strengthen. But it is only the beginning. of more abilities to come. Stretch your mind, and in time, you may find that you are everything, and everything is you. Thank you for listening, my friend. This has been Jerome Shaw on TOP, the Open Palm Podcast here in San Antonio, Texas. I trust you received an inspiring message, allowing you to do your own digging, find what speaks to you, unlock those superpowers, shine your light bright. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And if this is your first time receiving this podcast, subscribe for more inspirational messages like this. And if you'd like to support, head on over to anchor.fm/jshaw. Clicking that support link button is much appreciated. Thank you so much to all the wonderful donators who continue to contribute to the podcast, making it possible for episodes like this. Have a wonderful and blessed day or night, wherever you are. And as always, take care, my friend.